For the benefit of our virtual guests who have just joined us, we had a change in entertainers this evening. Due to COVID, Mark Gungor could not be with us this evening, so his amazing son Phil stepped in at the last minute and will entertain us tonight. Phil grew up learning the principles to a successful marriage, being taught from an early age what God says about love, relationships, and marriage. In 2001, Phil started working full-time in church ministry and is currently an associated pastor at Celebration Church in Green Bay. In 2013, Phil joined his father, Mark Gungor, in full-time ministry with Laugh Your Way, a couples comedy event. He has a passion for marriage, making people laugh, and a great desire to help couples thrive in their relationships. Phil has been married to his beautiful wife, Kirsty, for 21 years and has 4 children. Please join me in welcoming Phil Gungor.
Yes, hello. It's good to be here. I've been looking forward to this event for hours. As most things in the world today, if they don't arrive, you just blame it on COVID, and that's what we're going to do with my father. I know you placed an order for him, but due to COVID, we weren't able to get him here, and so I'm here. I'm glad to be with you. This is very cool. This event is great. This organization is amazing. Hearing stories like Ryan and Leah up here, just me as both a pastor and someone who, wants to help strengthen marriages. Really, with what we do, you hear one story like that, and it's like, it's worth it. It's so great. That being said, I would not bring them on the road with me as a comedy act opener. It's nothing like knowing you're supposed to go up and make people laugh, and they've got everyone just in tears and hearts broken. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. Let me tell some jokes now. So anyway, it is good. It is good to be here. Yes, as she announced, I've been going out and speaking as well. Not so much last year. Haven't been a lot of events. So it's good to get out. This is actually my first event in like over a year. So hopefully I remember what I'm saying. If not, we'll just have a great time anyway. But one of the things we do with Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, if you guys are familiar with it, we really try and focus on helping couples communicate better, pointing out things the differences that are there, because there's always differences. And of course, when you're dating, it seems very romantic. Right? You ladies, you meet some guy and you're like, oh, there's just something about that guy, right? Yeah, that thing is he's the opposite of you. That's what that something is. And it's romantic at first, but then you get married and you get close to each other, and now it's those differences that drive you crazy. And most marriage arguments boil down to one simple thing. It's how come you can't be more like me? Because clearly I'm brilliant and you're mentally insane. All right, if you would just learn to do it the way I think, then it would all get better. So that's a lot of what we do. Now, it was funny, when my dad, he texted me Saturday morning, hey, what you doing Tuesday evening? And then, of course, he's like, hey, you got 30-something minutes on marriage? I'm like, you know what we do, right? What do you mean? And, of course, he's like, wow, they've heard me say things so much throughout the years. You got anything new? I'm like, oh, you mean all that stuff I've been working on the last year where I haven't been doing anything? No. So I was talking to Jocelyn, and I am going to present a little bit. If some of you have been around for a while, you've heard us. I'm going to talk about the differences between men's brains and women's brains. But you're going to get to hear the younger, better looking version of this. I get to tell some of the stories about him correctly. I feel like he's got a revisionist mindset on some of these things, but no, but this will be it'll be fun. And two, for me, especially you see some of the younger couples out there. It's so great to see you guys out here and working on marriage. There's times when I look at studies and do things that, make me think like, oh my goodness, my generation and younger, like, is there hope for us? And so I love seeing that. I love seeing that you guys want to work on marriage. That's why I do what I do, and I love being a part of this. So, and again, thanks for having me here. So tonight we're going to talk about, this thing we do is it's about understanding the differences between men and women. Now, I got to set this up to start with. When I'm talking about men's brains or women's brains, I'm not saying all men think this way and all women think that way, okay? It's like, that gets me into a lot of trouble when people think, you're trying to say that all women are the same. I'm not. Well, what are you doing? Well, we use stereotypes, to kind of tell jokes, because to be honest with you, it's a lot funnier than going through and clinically reading through all the different possibilities of everything, okay? So as I'm doing this and I'm talking about the differences between men's brains and women's brains, just interpolate. There might be sometimes I'm talking about the woman's brain and you look out in the audience and there's some guy's eyes who just keep getting bigger and bigger because he's sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I think I'm a woman. No, sir, that's not what we're saying. All right. We're all different. But the thing to really understand is, as I said a little bit ago, your spouse, even if there's a lot of things you like, there are things that are different. And again, it's those differences that drive you crazy. So important to understand those things. All right. So as we're talking about men's brains, women's brains, I'm going to start talking about the man's brain. All right. And so ladies, a man's brain, it's like it's made up in a bunch of little boxes. We compartmentalize. It's what we do. And we have a box for everything in our life. All right. We've got a box for a job. We got a box for the kids. We got a box for the money. We got a box for you. We got a box for your mother somewhere in the basement. And the rule is that the boxes don't touch. Okay, so when a man goes to discuss a certain subject, he goes and he finds the appropriate box. He pulls out that box, opens it, and now he'll freely discuss the contents of just that box. And then when he's done, he closes it up, puts it back in, being very careful not to touch any of the other boxes, because the boxes do not touch. But then you have the woman's brain. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support as I enter into this journey. Now, a woman's brain, it's like a big ball of wire where everything is connected to everything. And for her, the job is connected to the money, which is connected to the kids, which is connected to the cars, and she's always bouncing around from one thing to the next. I was thinking about that, and then I saw this, and you see that Facebook article, and it reminded me, and she bounces around from one thing to the next, because somehow for her, it's all connected. In fact, the more obscure the connection, the greater the joy to her soul as she finds a way to bring it into the conversation. This is why women, they don't always just clearly ask for what they want. They'll hint. They'll imply. They'll suggest. And they think to it themselves, surely he's not brain dead. And he'll make the connection. But ladies, we do not connect. So on behalf of all the men here, if there's something you want, just say it. This is why even sometimes just going out to eat can be difficult. Right? You're talking to hey, you want to go out and get something to eat? Yeah, I'm kind of, anywhere too. Like, I'm starving, babe, wherever you want to go. Okay, all right. Man, I feel like steak. You want to go get a steak? She's like, really, a steak? Oh, I don't know. I don't really feel like steak. Okay, no problem. Let's go get some pasta. There's that new Italian restaurant. Oh, you just saying pasta makes me feel bloated. All right, we can go get some Chinese. I don't feel like Chinese. Then what do you want? I don't care. Clearly you care. Or you guys ever have this one? You're driving down the road, guys, minding your own business. Your wife asks you a simple question like, hey, do you want any coffee? No. You continue on your journey. But now she's sitting over there thinking, is he not going to ask me? I mean, I know that I asked him if I wanted coffee, but clearly he must know that means that I want coffee. And the only reason I'm asking him is because I wouldn't want to go get coffee if he doesn't want to get coffee, because I just don't want to be the only one getting coffee. Why does he hate me? Right, guy? You get home and she just explodes on you. What's going on? Why didn't you get me coffee? You didn't ask if you wanted coffee. Sure, remember when I said, hey, do you want coffee? But he's not picking up what you're laying down, ladies. Now listen, a guy, if he asks you if you want something, it's really because he wants to know if you want it. Right, guys? I've discovered, my wife, I know there's certain things she loves, like she loves dessert. And so at the end of the meal, and the waiter comes around and says, "Oh, would you guys like to see the dessert menu?" It's like, "Oh, yes." And then she goes through and she's, "Oh, this looks good. That looks good." Waiter comes by and he'll go, "What would you like?" She'll like, "Oh, I'll have the, chocolate, whatever cake." And then he'll say to me, "What would you like?" And I'm like, "I'm good. I don't want anything." And I get a look at her like I have left her out on an island by herself, because for some reason she thought, when you said, "Yeah, let's get dessert," I thought that meant you wanted dessert. No, I just know you like it, so I asked you. But she doesn't want that. I also noticed that when we order food, it's no matter what I order, it's somehow a part of her order. You guys, anyone experience this? It's like, "Do you want steak or chicken?" And she'll see what I get, and I'll say steak. Now, even if she wanted steak, how silly to also order what you want. She'll order the chicken. And then in her mind, she thinks, "Great, I can have half of my chicken and half of his steak." But this is a lose for me. I just wanted the steak. Thank you for that counseling session. That wasn't actually part of anything. I was just getting that off my chest. Where was I? Now, all of this, though, for women, it's driven by this energy called emotion. Zzz. And it's one of the reasons that women tend to remember everything. They do. They've studied this. They found that if you take an event in your life and you tie it to an emotion, that it will burn into your brain and you can remember it forever. The same thing happens for men. It just doesn't happen very often because usually we don't care. But women care about everything. Now, ladies, we men have a box in our brain that a lot of you have no idea exists. And this particular box has nothing in it. In fact, we call it the nothing box. And out of all the boxes in a man's brain, the nothing box is our favorite box. This is why a man can sit and do something seemingly brain dead for hours on end. We got any guys that like to fish? Not a lot going on there. Or hunt? Ladies, these guys, it's like, come November, it's like all the men were taken in the rapture or something, right? They all just disappear into the woods. What are they doing? You want to know what hunting is? It's 99.9% of the time of sitting there, not making any noise, and not drawing any attention to yourself. And men are in heaven. Oh. And if they're lucky, they'll see something. If not, they'll get up and do it the next day. There's just something about guys that just love to do that. You ever seen guys watch TV and they're just clicking through? Your wife's like, "What are you watching?" "Nothing." Now, they've studied this. The University of Pennsylvania did a study some years ago. And they did a study and they found out that men's brains and women's brains, they operate a little differently, statistically wise. They found out that men can, in fact, think about absolutely nothing and somehow still breathe. It's pretty fascinating. They took all the ladies and they put them in this, experiment, hooked up these things up to their brain and then monitored it. And it was just hours on end. This is why a lot of you ladies can't sleep at night, right? Because your brain doesn't shut off. They took the guys, they put them in the same study, hooked something up to their brain. The study said that as much as 70% of a man's brain shuts down when he's chilling out. So ladies, when your husband says he's chilling out, he's chilling out. Guys, if your wife says she's chilling out, get her a blanket, she's cold, all right? Because women don't understand. They don't comprehend. They certainly do not appreciate the nothing box. In fact, nothing drives a woman more crazy than to witness a man doing nothing. How can you sit there and do nothing? And then she gets mad at him. Stops talking to him. I'll show him. But now think this one through, ladies. In an effort to punish the man, you stop talking to him. That is like giving a bottle to a wino, okay? Like, you're sitting there thinking, I'll show him. He's sitting there thinking, well, thank God she's quiet. I must be doing something right. Until later she explodes. What? But see, women do not understand, they do not comprehend, and they do not appreciate the nothing box. Because when a woman sees her husband sitting there in that glorious vegetative state, she comes over. What you thinking about? Nothing. And then she'll get mad. You know some of you ladies out there, right? You get mad when your husband tells you he's thinking about nothing. Now, guys, do you want to know why she gets mad? She is convinced that you are withholding from her some deep emotional truth. No, there's nothing there. It's just, there's just nothing going on. In fact, I was laughing when y'all are asking these husbands these questions. What do you love most about your wife? I mean, those are questions that us guys, hopefully you're prepping that question now, guys, because you get asked that question. That's a pop quiz for guys, right? Like, I love the guy that just took the everything. Yeah, that guy's been around for a bit. I'm just going to cover everything about her is amazing. What was the question? I'm sorry. Yeah, just. You can start using that when she comes and she has to, honey, what you thinking about? Just be like, well, oh man, I was just composing this poem about you in my head. You interrupted me, I lost it. You know what? Leave me alone again for another hour. Let me see if I can find my spot on that. Oh. Men's brains and women's brains. This also affects the way that we use words. And of course, they say that if a man needs 10,000 words in a day, a woman needs 20,000 words in a day. And if any of you have little girls, I think they need 80,000. Yes. Of course, all the ladies say, well, yeah, we got to more words because we got to repeat everything we say. The husbands go, huh? Now, my wife and I have been married 21 years, which is good. Yeah, thanks. You can be clapping just because I got the number right. Thank you, Jocelyn, for saying that before I got up here. Now, what's sad is I've gotten that wrong before on the stage. And think it through. What year is it? 21. I've been married how long? 21 years. Got married in February. There's like 6 weeks out of the year. Just looking at the calendar doesn't work. And once I had her at this big event, and we've been married whatever years, and she's just walking away going, no. Of course, I have the microphone. She's wrong. Then I realized, it's 2018. I said we're married 16 years. I don't know what's going on. Now, my parents, they were married for 40-some years. My mom passed away some years ago. And I remember on their 30th wedding anniversary, of course, I was a young guy, and I just thought 30 years committed to anything, like that was forever, So I call up my dad. I'm like, holy cow, 30 years. Wow. He's like, yeah, Phil, but I got to be honest, it only feels like 10 minutes. Oh. He said, yeah, like 10 minutes underwater. There he is. There's my father. Thanks, Dad. So now, not only the amount of words we use are different, but also words themselves can mean very different things to men and women. Por ejemplo. For example, for all the non-Spanish speaking people. Five minutes. Now, men, 5 minutes is how long? 5 minutes, yes. You would think. But 5 minutes for a woman is an indefinite period of time. Honey, are you ready yet? 5 more minutes. Oh. Nothing. Now, as I've discussed, men understand nothing. We have PhDs in. You want to know about nothing? Come talk to a man. do not talk to a woman about nothing. Because if she says nothing, look out, it's something. Call up your buddies. Man, I think my wife might be mad at me. Really, what'd she say? And I don't know, she said it was nothing. No, run, man, run, get out the house. Now, this next one's not so much a word as it is a verbalization. It's a sigh. Now, when a man sighs, yeah, it means everything's good in life. When a woman sighs, it means you are a moron. Go ahead. Oh, you've ran into this one before. Now, ladies, see, when a man says go ahead, he's being polite. Oh, please go ahead. Guys, when a woman says go ahead, and look out, because that's a dare. And she's usually giving you the opportunity to explain whatever stupid thing it is you just did. Go ahead. But guys, you have to be careful about how you respond, because it is likely to be followed by a sigh, which will lead to an argument over nothing. And then, my friend, you are not having sex again for at least 5 minutes. Men's brains, women's brains. This also affects the way that, we communicate, the way that we listen, we hear. Women, I know you think men just don't hear things. We hear things. We just, our brains operate a little differently. They say that men's brains, generally speaking, tend to be, like little single tasking computers. And a woman's brains are like multitasking computers. So guys are generally very good at doing one thing at a time, right? We focus in on the task, guys. That's how we do it. That's actually one of the ways that men achieve and accomplish things in their lives, is the ability to black out all other distractions and focus on just the task at hand. Which in my household plays out with the car keys. I always know where the car keys are. Take the keys out of the car, and I always put them in the exact same spot over and over again. My wife multitasks. The car keys are just a part of a giant creative smorgasbord of things going on in her head. And even though she literally just walked in the house 30 seconds ago from the car, I could ask her where the car keys are. She's like, don't even ask me. I don't even have a clue. I couldn't even ballpark it for you right now, babe. All right. It could be here. I could have thrown them out on the halfway down the road. I don't really know. I've spent a lot of hours searching for car keys. It's been a passion project of mine. I finally bought those little, those tags you can put on the car keys, right? So I bought those tags just a few weeks ago. Bought the tags. Literally next day, I go to grab the keys to go to the gym. My wife somehow has every key in the house with her at the time, and she's left. I'm like, I literally just bought these. And to her defense, she said I didn't explain it well enough. But anyway, she understands it now. But it's something as simple as that. Like, I always know where the little keys go. Now, you'll see this play out at the home in different ways too. Guys are just kind of trying to, especially when it comes to like children. Like, I got 4 kids. There's one dude in there, man, you got 9 kids. We need to hold a prayer service for you afterwards. That's amazing. Bless you. But 4 kids, I can imagine 9. I tell you, that guy with 9 kids, my guess, if that was me with 9 kids, I would know where like 2/3 of them are at any given moment. That's about it. And that'd be a winning percentage right there. Where somehow, but the wife, she knows where everyone is, what they're doing, where they're going to next. It's amazing. And this also even affects the way that our eyes work. They say that men's eyes, they're kind of like high-powered scopes. I guess great maybe for the hunting and gathering back in the day. And it's great for seeing the detail of things, but unless that scope falls on exactly what you're looking for, you can't find it. This is why a man can go to a cupboard, open it up. Honey, where's the salt? It's in the cupboard. What did you talk about? It's in the I'm looking in the cupboard. There's no salt in here. But then she'll come along. And as though she's like a Las Vegas magician. Poof of smoke, and there's the salt. You're like, whoa, impressive. They say women's eyes are like wide-angle lenses. Zzz, taking in all of the detail. This is why you ladies could walk into this room tonight and immediately know what every other woman in this place was wearing. You just see all the detail, always taking things in. And my wife, she's always seeing things and going, I don't know what it is with the. But let me tell you something, ladies. For a man, if I was with a group of men and I heard a guy go, I can know that there is some life-threatening situation. Something's on fire, something blew up, or is about to. But for a woman, it could be anything. We'll be going through, we travel a lot, we'll be going through airports, and of course, I'm looking for gate A10, right? A10, there it is. I'm mission focused, and I'm going, and then I keep hearing, what? What's on fire? What's going on? Did you see that guy's shoes? That guy's shoes. It's like, dear, there's hundreds of people walking in opposite directions, and you're wondering if I saw that guy's shoes. Oh, you missed it. Just keep going. Okay, go on. Tell someone. It's just this constant, like, she's checking my heart. I don't know what it is. Ladies, too, this is why you ever come home and you've left your husband with the kids all day long, and he's got the kids in bed, but he's sitting in the TV room, but the house is a mess. And you think, how can he not see this mess? I'll explain it to you. He got the kids to bed. He looked for the couch. There's the couch. And there's the TV. I'm good. He has no clue. And you come home. How can you sit there in this mess? It's a mess. I didn't even notice. Oh, my goodness. I guess you're right. He just doesn't see it. And I know you don't believe me. It's impossible because it's all you see. I'm just telling you how it works. It's science. So now, when this comes in to the listening and communication phase, you can see how a couple can get themselves into trouble, right? Because if your husband is doing anything other than looking at you and listening to you, ladies, guess what he's not doing? Listening to you. Because he's focused on whatever task it is. If he's checking the scores on his phone, he's running the score checking phone program. And then you'll come in and you'll ask him questions. And in order for his brain to make sure it does not get distracted, it has a defense mechanism and alarms. So when it hears outside distractions, the alarm goes off and it sounds like this. Now you think, oh, he's agreeing with me. He's hearing what I'm. He's not hearing what you're saying. You guys ever have that conversation where it's like, maybe you had it tonight. You ready for the event tonight? What event? I told you. So now, guys, we're big boys. If you can hear your alarm going off, close whatever program you're doing, load up the Listen to My Wife program, and ladies, give him a second. He's got to reboot, all right? And now, listen to the girl. You're going to save yourself a lot of problems. But now you ladies, you also so multitask that you're out there like, Olympic level talking and listening and stuff, and we're just focused in. I've seen this before, just going out to eat, and I'm like, okay, I'm out on a date with my wife. I'm going to listen to my wife. I'm focusing to her. I'm paying attention to her. And then all of a sudden, at one point, we're about getting to leave, and she goes, did you hear the conversation, those ladies behind us? Ladies behind us? I didn't know those ladies behind us.
somehow you guys could have a conversation with us and track 3, 4 other conversations in the room around you. That's like do, okay? So we're not quite there, so don't expect that level. Well, probably the most stereotypical, funniest example of this I saw was just in my family growing up, because my dad is like uber single tasker guy. He was so bad, he was usually wandering around the house trying to remember the one thing he was doing. What was I doing? And my mom's super multitasker. I'm convinced my mom had like a DVR in her brain where she could record conversations. And at any moment, she could just scroll through and like hit play wherever that conversation left off. Doesn't matter how long ago it was. I could be having a conversation with my mom. She's like, hey, so we're thinking of, painting the room in there. I'm kind of wondering what color we should go with. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I forgot something. And then she'll leave and she's gone. I just think, okay, conversation's over. Man, like 2 weeks later, we could be sitting down at dinner, and it's like my mom's scrolling through her little DVR. Oh, remember that conversation I was having with Phil? Hit play, and she'll go, so what color do you think? What color do I think? I'm like, is this like a deep question here? I think in blue, maybe? I don't know. No, don't you remember we were talking about such? It's like, Mom, I don't have a DVR, right? You got to give me the previously on Conversation with Phil. That recap that they play before things? I need that. And so you've got her married to my dad. Oh, my goodness, he was getting in trouble all the time. It was hilarious. Where are we going? You didn't tell me that. What are you talking about? It got so bad that my mom had my dad convinced he was going deaf. True story. So he just thinks, I guess I'm getting up there in age. And so they were walking, through the mall once, and there's some like, get your hearing tested for free kind of thing or something. He's like, I guess I might as well do that. And so he sits down, he does the hearing test, and the lady says, according to this, you can hear great, you can hear everything. She's like, but you know what, sir, you're getting up there in age, and you better go see the professional. He's like, all right. So he goes, sees the professional, does the full-on thing, same thing, comes back, dude, why are you here? You can hear better than I can hear. Well, I don't know. She says, are you ready yet? And I don't know what's going on. And she said, so of course, he comes back. My mom's like, well, what did the doctor say? According to him, I can hear what cats and dogs can hear. She's like, I knew it. Your problem is you just don't listen. So now he's going to start paying attention. And it's like at this moment, he realizes what I've realized before about how my mom's this uber multitasker. And she's such a multitasker that if she starts a conversation with you in this room and then remember she has to get something in this other room, okay. The conversation will continue wherever she goes. So she would start the conversation with him in the kitchen, move to the laundry room. She'd take the laundry to the second floor, not even on the same floor as him, still giving him vital information. He's like, hey, I'm down here. You don't listen anyway. It was hilarious. Now, I remember telling this story once, and there was this couple guys in tears. He's just laughing so hard. And I was like, I went and asked him later. He's like, dude, I just got back this afternoon from the audiologist because my wife was convinced I am deaf. And she's sitting there just like, I said, what'd the doctor say? She says, he can hear perfectly. She's like, how is this possible? She's like, Phil, he'll just be sitting there grilling. And I'll be like, Tom, huh? What? And she's like, right here. How can he not hear me? I'm like, because he is on the task at hand. You don't understand it. And of course, for her, she's like, that seems impossible. So I know it can be frustrating living with a single tasker, ladies, but don't so over multitask that, the laws of physics don't apply to you. We've heard all the stories throughout the years of guys saying, oh, yeah, man, my wife does this, or she'll wait until like I'm in the bathroom, doors closed. I hear the sound of rushing water, and all I hear on the other side of the door is, don't forget to hold, you're going to be in trouble. Bye. What? That's why sometimes we miss ladies, right? We're just trying to listen. But guys, you know how you're married to an amazing multitasker is when it's in a moment of intimate passion. The lights are low, the slow jams are playing. You, my friend, are focused on just the one task at hand. And then your wife blurts out, oh, by the way, the plumber said he can come by Thursday. Focus, woman, focus. Oh, man, she can make love to you. Remember when the plumbers come and plan next week's dinners all at the same time. Now, in closing, between men's brains and women's brains, I want to talk about how they're portrayed in movies. You know, a guy flick is, generally speaking, just usually anytime something's blowing up, we're interested. You know, you've got some guy who's got a particular set of skills, you know, we're interested in that. And we just love watching those movies. And there's just guys like, yeah, I love it. But the movies a lot of the ladies like to get into, as they'll call the chick flicks, the romantic comedies, are very different. And if you're not familiar with some of the romantic comedies, I would like to point your attention to the Mecca holy grail of chick flicks. They've dedicated an entire channel to it. It's called the Hallmark Channel. Wow. If you're not familiar with the Hallmark Channel, just do a little Google research. Find out how many movies they make a year. And you'll go, excuse me, this many a year? Hundreds a year. And you're like, how could they do that? Well, it's because they're all the same. And they only employ about 6 actors and actresses. If you're not familiar with the Hallmark movie, let me kind of break it down for you. This is the basic premise for most of them. It is a big city girl who comes to some small town, meets some small town guy. He's usually a farmer of some kind. And this is where it gets interesting. Depending on the time of year, depends what kind of farmer he is. Let's say you're watching in October. Let's make him a pumpkin farmer. A little closer to Christmas, Christmas tree farmer. And they fall in love and have this back and forth, and there's this disconnect, and then they come together at the end, and you ladies eat it up 24/7, sitting there with your mocha choca latte, whatever the heck, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I love this. Or the husband just sitting there going, did we see this one? I thought she was the main love interest. Oh, that was the other one we watched. Okay. And she was a princess in that one. Okay, right. That's a whole nother genre. So now, as different as these two genres are, you know there's one thing that's the same, and it's this. At some point, the hero always goes back for the girl. And see, guys, there's something you can learn about this, because I'm going to give you a little secret. I'm going to tell you what it is that women really want. And it's this. They want to feel chosen. It's the reason that you got her to fall in love with you. You kept choosing to spend time with her, choosing to be with her, right? Because see, all of life for her is like that high school girl sitting there at the dance just waiting for some guy to come and ask her. And then you win the girl, and then guys, you stand at the altar, and when you say, I do, you think it means, I'm done. And now you take and you put all your focus and attention on your career and your this and your that. And those are all important things. Yes, go fight for those. Go fight for your battles. Absolutely. But just like in those movies, you cannot forget to go back for the girl. Because see, even in those guy flicks, at some point where the hero's out fighting a battle, at some point he stops. He looks back at his men and goes, go on without me, boys. I've got something I got to do. And then at great risk to himself, he goes back and he rescues the girl. See, it is the man who can demonstrate to a woman that out of everything in life, I desire you more than anything else. That's a man that can keep a woman crazy in love with him for the rest of his life. So guys, go out and fight your battles. Do what you need to do. Hit your victories, but you cannot forget about that girl. And it's not like she's this needy little creature who needs you there constantly every 5 minutes. But you go weeks, months, some of y'all years, where everything in your life is more important than her, my friend, you will pay a serious price. So maybe, dude, sometime when you're out late with your buddies, you just need to get up and you need to walk towards the door. They're going to say, dude, where are you going? You look back at them and say, go on without me, boys. I got something I got to do. And then you go back and you rescue your wife as she's trapped in the camp of the enemy by wild monsters. You mean like in the movies? No, I mean your children. And you go back for the girl. All right. Thank you guys so much for having me out tonight. I appreciate it. God bless.